Welcome to NIA English Channel. So, have you ever been in that situation? You're sitting in a restaurant, maybe somewhere new, maybe an English-speaking place, and it's all kind of nice, maybe a bit fancy, and the waiter comes over, and suddenly, bam, that little voice in your head just starts screaming.
Oh, yeah. The anxiety lizard, as you called it.
It's real.
Right. And all those English phrases you practiced, the ones from the app, gone. Poof, just vanish into thin air.
Uh-huh. You know you need to order something, but the words just aren't there.
Exactly. And you end up just sort of
Yeah.
pointing. Or maybe doing the classic desperate, same please, even if you have no idea what your friend just ordered.
It happens to everyone learning a language, I think.
Yeah.
Because ordering isn't just... It's not just listing words for food, is it? It feels like this big social test.
Yeah.
The worry isn't really about getting the grammar wrong. It's more about, like, messing up the social rules, breaking some invisible code. And when you're not sure what that code is, the words just disappear. That is precisely it. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. We found this amazing source. It's a really detailed script from a beginner English lesson specifically for A1, A2 learners.
Right, the foundational level.
Yeah, and it's designed to teach people exactly how to order a meal from start to finish. And the key thing is, it uses this kind of slow, really natural rhythm. It's from NIA, Natural Interaction English, and they seem to really get those cultural pressure points.
So our plan isn't just to, read the beginner script. We're doing a deep dive. We want to pull out that polite rate map that's sort of hidden inside it.
Exactly. Not just what phrases they teach, but why those specific phrases. Why are they considered the right way?
And what does that tell us about, the culture around service in English-speaking places? How politeness, and especially tone, often matters more than perfect grammar.
Yeah.
This is about decoding that social contract so you listening get a much deeper understanding way beyond just memorizing phrases.
Think of it as getting the inside scoop on dining etiquette, fast. We're going through the whole process, getting a table, using the right words to ask for things, even how to handle it if they bring the wrong food.
Whoa, that's a big one.
Right. And even understanding things like tipping. Okay, so let's start right at the beginning. You walk in, that very first moment sets the tone, doesn't it?
Absolutely crucial. The waiter comes up, maybe the host, and asks that first really basic question. How many people are in your group? Or maybe just how many?
And this is where you establish yourself. The source we looked at is really clear here. The essential answer is super simple, and it uses what we could call the first politeness tool.
Which is?
A table for two, please.
It seems almost too simple, right? A table for number, please. Why even analyze that?
Well, it's that last word, please.
Ah, the magic word.
Exactly. The source really hammers this home. Without, please, if you just say a table for two. Technically, it's okay, but it sounds a bit like a demand, a bit blunt.
Right, like you're stating a fact they must comply with. Here are two people, give table.
Yeah, but adding please instantly changes it. It becomes a request. It shows you respect their role, that they're actually doing something for you by giving you a table.
Yeah.
It shifts the power dynamic.
It goes from a command to, well, a polite request. And that signal, that little bit of good manners right at the start, it's just expected in English. It's non-negotiable, really.
So it's not just about being nice, it's efficient too.
Yeah.
It starts things off smoothly. No friction.
Precisely. Okay, so you've got your table, you're sitting down, but now maybe the waiter gets busy, they're clearing another table, chatting with someone else.
And you need the menu. Or maybe some water. You need to get their attention, but you don't want to be rude or, shout across the room.
Yeah, you need to interrupt politely. And this brings us to the second key phrase, the sort of universal attention getter.
Excuse me.
That's the one. The beginner script we're analyzing really highlights this. It calls it polite, gentle, friendly. Basically, it's like saying, sorry to bother you, but before you even ask. It's your polite little flag.
Thinking about it, for someone who's maybe a bit nervous speaking, saying, excuse me, first actually buys you a second, doesn't it?
That's a really great point.
Like your brain might be scrambling for the right words for the menu request, but just getting out, excuse me, signals, hey, I need you when you have a moment. It pauses things.
It absolutely does. It's like a little verbal buffer. It gets their attention, pauses the action, so when you do make your request, they're actually listening.
So the full sequence, according to the source, has to be, excuse me, can we have the menu, please?
Easy. Both key elements there. Excuse me, to politely interrupt and please to soften the actual request.
It's so simple, but it really shows that politeness is just the default setting for these interactions in English.
Yeah.
You kind of have to use these courtesy keys to unlock the next step.
Honestly, if someone learning English just mastered saying, "excuse me," calmly and remembering to add "please" consistently, they'd probably handle most dining situations successfully, even if they stumbled over the names of the dishes themselves.
That's probably true. Those two are foundational. Okay, so you're settled. You've got the menu. You've made your choices. Maybe the tomato soup and then the grilled chicken. Sounds good.
Classic choices.
The waiter comes back. Are you ready to order?
Yeah.
And now, the big one. How do you actually ask for the food? What verb do you use?
And this is where the source material lays down a really firm rule. The number one polite way to order is using "I'd like."
Which is short for I would like, of course.
Mm.
The examples in the lesson script are very clear. For my starter, I'd like the tomato soup, please. Or another option they give is, I'll have the green salad, please.
Yeah, "I'll have mirror" is another good one. But what's really interesting is what the source says not to do. It explicitly warns the learner. Never say "I want."
Right, it says it sounds too direct, maybe even too strong, or a bit aggressive for ordering food.
And this is where we can dig a bit deeper linguistically. Why is "I want" considered harsh in this context? Because in lots of other languages, the direct equivalent of "want" is totally normal for ordering. It just means you're stating what you desire.
So what's different in English service culture?
Well, if you think about it, "I want" expresses a pretty strong immediate need or desire. In a service situation, using "want" can almost imply that the thing should already be yours, like you're placing this very direct demand on the server.
Okay.
But "I would like" that uses "would." That's the conditional tense.
Right, the conditional, like it's hypothetical almost.
Exactly. It creates this little bit of linguistic distance, a bit of deference. It suggests something like, "if it's possible, if you could provide this, I would be happy." It softens the whole thing.
So it turns the desire into more of a suggestion or a polite hope.
Precisely. It fits that whole pattern of respectful suggestion rather than direct command that seems to underpin English service interactions.
Okay, that makes sense. So I'd like is the top choice for politeness. And I'll have, which is short for I will have, that's okay too.
Yeah, "I'll have" is generally seen as friendly and perfectly acceptable. It's maybe slightly less formal than "I'd like," but it still works because it signals a decision you've made rather than that strong wanting feeling. It's more like, "this is my choice, please bring it."
Got it. Neither of them has that blunt force of I want. That distinction is actually really helpful, especially for learners who might feel awkward using want but not quite know why.
Now let's also look at the order of things. The script clearly follows that standard Western meal structure. Starters first, then the main course.
Right. It shows the learner ordering the soup or salad, and then later the waiter might ask about the main, or the learner specifies, for my main course, and orders the chicken or pasta. It teaches that expected sequence.
And notice again the relentless use of "please." Even after using the polite "I'd like" structure, the script adds it. "For my main course, I'd like the grilled chicken, please."
It's like built-in suspenders for politeness. Even if you used I'd like, you still add please, just to be absolutely sure.
It really drills home that adding "please" to almost any request is the safest bet if you're unsure. It's the easiest way to ensure you sound natural and polite. It becomes an automatic reflex.
Yeah, it's about making courtesy automatic, not just a grammar rule you have to remember under pressure.
Exactly. Building that social habit.
Okay, now for the tricky part. The moment everyone dreads, especially when you're not fluent, something goes wrong.
Oh.
The waiter brings you fish, but you know you ordered the chicken. This is where language skills can just collapse under the stress, right?
Yeah.
How do you correct someone without sounding rude or angry?
This is such a key cultural test, and the source material gives a very clear guideline here. Above all, stay calm, never shout, don't sound angry, try to keep a smile. The politeness has to continue even when there's a problem.
And the phrase they teach is actually quite clever because it uses our key elements again. Oh, excuse me, I ordered chicken, not fish.
See. Starting with, "oh, excuse me," does that thing, it signals a slight apology for having to point out the mistake. It frames it as an unfortunate situation, not necessarily the waiter's fault.
That's subtle, but important.
And the source really emphasizes that the key here is kindness and a calm tone of voice. In this kind of service culture, how you sound your tone often matters more than the exact words. If you're calm and polite about the correction, it's usually seen as just a mix-up, maybe in the kitchen, maybe a simple error.
Right, it takes the personal blame off the waiter.
Exactly. And that makes them much more likely to just fix it quickly without any drama. You're basically saying, hey, there seems to be a little issue here. Can we sort it out? Rather than, you made a mistake.
It becomes a collaborative problem-solving thing, not a confrontation.
Mhm.
But what if, the restaurant is really noisy? Sometimes you have to speak up a bit just to be heard. Does the calm voice rule still apply rigidly?
That's a fair point. You might need to increase your volume to be heard over the noise, but the tone still needs to be non-confrontational. Think about the difference between shouting angrily and just speaking clearly and loudly.
Okay.
The cadence, the rhythm of your speech, your facial expression, those signal your intent. A loud but still cheerful, "Excuse me, so sorry, I think I got the fish instead of the chicken," is fine. A quiet but sharp, clipped, "This is wrong," is definitely not. The key is avoiding any sound of impatience or accusation.
Gotcha. And the script also offers an even softer option for people who really hate any kind of confrontation, right?
Yes, it suggests, "Sorry, I think there's a mistake with my order."
Yeah.
Using sorry up front, again, apologizes for the inconvenience of the mistake existing. It's very gentle.
And then the script shows the expected outcome. The waiter apologizes profuse. "I'm so sorry, I'll bring your chicken right away."
Yeah.
Which reinforces the idea that if the customer is polite, the fix is usually quick and easy.
Exactly. Low drama is the goal.
Okay, so the mistake is fixed. The correct delicious meal has been eaten. Now it's time to pay.
The final step. And the request uses our familiar structure again.
Right. Excuse me. Can we have the bill, please?
Simple, polite, effective. But here the source adds a really useful bit of info, especially for travelers.
Ah, yes, the bill versus check distinction.
Exactly. It clarifies that bill is what you'll typically hear and use in British English and probably Australia, New Zealand, etc.
Well, check is the standard word in the US and Canada.
Right. Both are correct in their own places, but knowing which one to use makes you sound a little more like a local, or at least like an informed visitor. It's a nice detail to include.
It is interesting how those little vocabulary differences stick around. Maybe bill focuses on the list of charges, the total amount owed.
Could be. And check maybe relates more to the idea of checking the items, verifying the order before you pay. Who knows the exact history, but knowing both is definitely helpful.
And finally, the very last step in the interaction.
Thank you. The source stresses this shouldn't be skipped.
Yeah, saying something like, "Thank you very much, the food was delicious," apparently makes a difference. The script notes that waiters really appreciate hearing that.
It just ends the whole thing on a positive human note. It confirms that the effort, the service, the politeness on both sides resulted in a good experience.
Completes the circle. So we've really unpacked the specific phrases, the words themselves. But the source material also talks about the stuff around the words, the cultural and nonverbal side of things, which honestly can be even harder for learners to pick up.
Absolutely. This section emphasizes that politeness in English-speaking service isn't just about saying please. It's about your whole attitude, your tone, making eye contact, just generally being pleasant. It's behavioral as much as linguistic.
And they give really specific advice on getting a waiter's attention, which we touched on. The big don't. Never wave your hand frantically or shout "waiter" across the room.
Right. That kind of thing can be seen as quite rude in many English-speaking contexts. It can come across as treating the server like, well, a servant you summon, rather than a professional who's managing multiple tasks and customers. It disrupts the flow.
So instead, the advice is to rely on that quiet power of a soft, calm, maybe catching their eye and offering a little smile. The script actually calls this the phrase that can open every door in English.
It's a great way to put it. It suggests that this quiet, respectful signal carries more weight socially than a loud, demanding action. You're showing patience and respect for their time, and the unspoken agreement is that they'll respond to that positively when they can.
It really defines the relationship as one of mutual courtesy, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So if we step back and look at this whole script, from asking for the table politely to using "I'd like" to correcting errors gently, it all seems designed to minimize conflict and keep things smooth. What does that really tell us about the underlying values here?
I think it tells us that these service cultures place a really high value on, let's say, low friction, low confrontation interactions. The language itself, the expected etiquette, it's all geared towards ensuring things go smoothly and respectfully for everyone involved. The customer shows respect for the server's job, and the server provides good service in return. It's a reciprocal arrangement built on politeness.
Okay, Let's switch gears slightly to another crucial cultural element, money. Specifically, tipping. This can cause so much anxiety for travelers.
Oh, definitely. And the source is smart to include this. It gives very clear location-specific advice. Rule number one, if you're in the US, tipping is generally expected.
Right. It states the typical range is often 15 to 20% of the bill. And it's important to understand that in the US, tips often make up a significant portion of the server's actual wages. It's not really optional in the same way it might be elsewhere.
Exactly. It's a fundamental part of the compensation system there. But then the advice shifts completely for the UK or Europe.
Yeah, the advice is check the bill first. Often, a service charge might already be included in the total.
Right. And if service is included, you might leave a smaller extra tip for really good service, or sometimes nothing more is expected. It varies more by country and establishment.
Knowing that difference is huge for avoiding awkwardness. You don't want to undertip in the US, but you also don't necessarily need to add another 20% if service is already included in London or Paris.
It just gives the learner confidence that they're handling the financial part correctly, according to local customs.
And then the script wraps up with this lovely little piece of philosophy kind of zooming out from the specific rules.
Yeah, a nice touch.
It basically says, look, learning English isn't just about memorizing grammar. It's about connecting with people. It's about smiling. It's about using language to share a bit of kindness.
It puts the focus back on the human element, the reason we learn language, to communicate, to connect. It suggests that the intent behind your words, that kindness, can often smooth over minor grammatical mistakes.
Totally. And it also reinforces the need for practice. It advises the learner, say these sentences out loud every few days, make them automatic.
Because fluency, especially in these common social situations, comes from repetition. Turning that polite script we've analyzed into an ingrained habit, not something you have to consciously construct every single time.
Makes perfect sense. Hashtag quick recap, cultural takeaways for the learner.
Okay, that was a really detailed look at not just the what, but the why of ordering food politely in English. So for you listening, let's just quickly recap the main cultural takeaways we pulled from this beginner script.
Let's do it. 5 key things.
Sounds good. Okay, takeaway number 1. Use your linguistic lubricants. Always start interactions or interruptions with "excuse me" and end almost every request with "please." They are essential signals of respect.
Right. Number 2, order using suggestion, not demand. Stick to the softer phrasing like "I'd like" or "I'll have." Definitely avoid "I want." Remember that conditional would makes a difference. 3rd, tone trumps perfect grammar, especially when there's a problem. If you need to correct an error, stay calm, keep a polite tone, use "excuse me" first, and approach it collaboratively. Kindness is key.
Number 4, mind your nonverbals. Don't shout or wave aggressively for attention. Use a soft "excuse me," make eye contact, maybe a slight smile. Respect the server's space and workflow.
And 5th, know the local customs, especially around money. Remember, billed mainly in the UK Commonwealth, check, mainly in the US Canada. And be aware of the different tipping expectations, particularly the significance of tipping in the US versus service charges often being included elsewhere.
Perfect. It all comes back to that core idea. Confidence in these situations comes from consistently signaling respect and non-aggression through both your words and your behavior. That's the social code.
Well put. Hashtag tag outro. So if there's one big idea to take away from our deep dive today, maybe it's that lovely analogy from the source itself. Learning English isn't a race. It's a journey. Take it slowly. Enjoy every step. And hopefully, understanding the why behind these phrases makes that step of ordering food feel a lot less daunting.
And just thinking about that mistake scenario again, the fact that the correct way to handle it is so focused on politeness, really underlines that core value of mutual courtesy. The whole system seems designed to keep things positive even when things go slightly wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. We really hope that breaking down these rules and patterns helps you feel way more confident next time you're ordering in English. If you found this useful, if you enjoyed this little exploration into English etiquette,
Please do subscribe, like this video, and maybe share it with friends who might also find it helpful.
and we'd love to hear from you too. Let us know in the comments what's your go-to dish, what's the food you feel confident ordering now using these phrases.
Yeah, tell us your favorites.
You've been listening to us on NIA English Channel. Keep practicing, stay positive, and remember that learning the culture is part of learning the language.
Thanks so much for joining our deep dive today. Goodbye.